T.I.'s son, King Harris, has been arrested after not appearing in court and some other things connected to...
We have never witnessed a celebrity scandal spiral this brutally. This is bigger than anything the Harris family's messy past has ever put out. Right now, the world is holding its breath, waiting on updates about King Harris, who's laid up in intensive care, beaten, bloodied, and fighting for his life after what insiders are already calling a vicious prison ambush. The whispers coming from those Georgia prison walls sound like scenes ripped straight from a gangland movie. Reports say King was barely conscious after getting jumped inside his block. Guards rushed in, scrambling to drag him out as chaos exploded around them, forcing an emergency lockdown. Sources claim he was then rushed under heavy guard to the prison infirmary, his face swollen, his body limp, and his condition terrifying. Staff were forced to battle the chaos as a full-on prison riot erupted, leaving multiple inmates hurt in the process. And for anyone thinking this was just some random brawl or a rookie initiation gone sideways, wrong. Whispers are spreading that this wasn't random at all. This was a straight-up hit.
Him being arrested isn't really like the shocker. It's him coming out and his, I guess, reaction to it, right? Because everybody's saying, King, you grew up privileged, bro. Why are you going down this path? Now he's talking about F the police, F12. So, you know, it just...
Sources claim inmates deliberately turned on King in what's being called a cold-blooded, calculated ambush. Some insiders say it was payback for his nonstop flexing of money and privilege, while others believe it was a brutal warning, a reminder that once you're locked up, fame don't mean a thing, and showing weakness makes you pray. As soon as word hit the streets, the internet went wild. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, every platform lit up. Some fans were shocked and sympathetic, while others clowned him, saying King had finally come face to face with the real world and he couldn't take the heat. The Harris family is reportedly in full-blown panic, scrambling for answers and desperate for protection, because whispers are growing that this won't be the last time King gets targeted. Social media is on fire, flooded with nonstop commentary, wild speculation, and of course, conspiracy theories flying left and right. Early unconfirmed rumors pointed to long simmering beef with other inmates. One source close to the Harris circle claimed King had been marked for humiliation weeks ago, set up not by accident but with purpose. Another insider tied to prison staff swore that King was already a pariah inside, hated for his family's fame and his own loud claims of standing on business, like he ran the whole yard. Anonymous inmates even admitted they warned him to chill, saying he was too loud, too proud, and way too soft for that world. And now, it looks like those warnings weren't just talk. They exploded into brutal reality. The Harris family's reaction: total emergency mode. Word is, T.I. hasn't closed his eyes since the attack, pacing with worry and rage. T.I. has been blowing up phones, calling attorneys, politicians, and anyone with even a sliver of pull over the Georgia Department of Corrections.
Wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for Family Hustle. Right. That does come with some, you know, it's some adversity. It's some adversity to come with that. People get in your bed.
One Atlanta insider claims Tip has already promised the world, ready to cut checks, make backroom deals, even sign airtight NDAs, anything, if it means getting King out alive before the clock runs out. It's almost unreal seeing the self-proclaimed king of the South brought to his knees like this, but that's exactly what's happening behind the curtain. Meanwhile, Tiny has reportedly locked herself in her own war room, working the phones with publicists, lawyers, and media allies, fighting her own battle. But behind closed doors, that picture-perfect unity the couple always showed off. Cracking fast, sources say arguments between T.I. and Tiny have turned explosive, each pointing fingers over how their son ended up trapped in this nightmare. Friends close to the family whisper they don't even know anymore if T.I. and Tiny are fighting to save King or just fighting each other, while King's life still hangs in the balance. The household that once painted itself as rock solid is now crumbling under the pressure, and the cracks are showing loud and clear. But here's where it gets even murkier. Word on the inside says, this attack wasn't about petty disrespect or random beef at all. The whispers point to a failed contraband deal behind those walls, where King either refused to play along or, even worse, tried to finesse the wrong crew. And in a world where loyalty is everything, a move like that can get you marked quick. So what really went down? Was this just a heated disagreement that spun out of control? Or was King Harris straight up targeted by inmates who felt double-crossed? Sources close to the investigation are hinting at evidence of a setup. They claim King was lured to a corner of the prison only to be jumped by at least 3 men, while, mysteriously, the surveillance cameras went dark at that exact moment. The Department of Corrections swears there was no glitch, but insiders aren't buying it. As one of T.I.'s former road managers put it, it's Georgia. Cameras break when they need to break. That's all you need to know. Meanwhile, King's condition is still shaky, and family tensions are now boiling over in plain sight. The Harris clan has closed ranks before, but never under pressure like this.
I graduated. That's the only good thing they posted of me going viral. I'm not on the media's good side. I don't know why, but
Fans can't forget that explosive Falcons game moment when T.I. put King in a headlock live on Instagram after yet another ugly argument about his upbringing. "You are embarrassing yourself and your family," Tip barked at him, while security scrambled and Tiny tried to calm the storm. Back then, many believed that was King's lowest point. But this prison ambush proves things can spiral even lower. Now King's stuck in a hospital bed, and the Harris family's dirty laundry is blowing across the internet for millions to see. That infamous Falcons game fight? Turns out, it was just a warm-up for something way uglier. The stakes now aren't about pride, they're about survival. This isn't about family pride anymore. It's about survival. From day one, the prison climate for King was never safe. But lately, insiders say it turned downright poisonous. Multiple sources claim he was constantly taunted over his parents' scandals, including that still lingering cloud of trafficking allegations tied to T.I. and Tiny, which spilled over onto King like a shadow he couldn't shake. And to make things worse, King apparently added fuel himself, allegedly trying to flex for social media even from behind bars. He called out rivals, hyped himself as Atlanta's next big thing, and tried to keep his image alive. But the older prisoners weren't buying any of it. "We're not here for the reality show," one ex-inmate told us bluntly. "We don't care who your daddy is." Inside those walls, the law is simple. If you run your mouth or don't pay what you owe, you get handled.
Steve Sadar reached out to me looking to make a deal on behalf of T.I. and Tiny. And I told Steve Sadar that my clients want justice. So if the deal involves Tiny and T.I. turning themselves in and admitting to the crime that they've committed, then fine, we got a deal. But if it does not, then I would prefer to have the investigators do their work and to bring criminal charges against Tiny
And now, King is facing the cost of that rule spilling out into the real world. T.I., meanwhile, is playing every last card he's got. Sources say he's even threatening to go public with explosive claims about prison conditions while working back channels at the same time. King's team is already moving in silence, pushing sympathetic stories to friendly media outlets. The strategy? Shift the spotlight off King and throw it onto a corrupt prison system instead. A textbook move from the celebrity crisis playbook. But the real question hangs heavy. Has the clock already run out on saving him? Behind all the spin and frantic damage control, one brutal thought lingers like smoke. What if this is exactly what happens when you raise a son to believe he's untouchable, only for reality to swing back harder than anyone ever imagined? And making it worse are the whispers from not one, not two, but 3 separate industry veterans claiming the Harris family's messy legal past painted an even bigger target on King's back behind bars. It's no secret his name has surfaced more than once in connection with those lingering trafficking allegations, the same accusations that first erupted years ago and refused to fade away. Accusers have long hinted at a tangled web of bad behavior, one allegedly tied directly to the Harris family itself. And at the center of that storm, none other than Sabrina Peterson, the ex-friend who lit the match. Sabrina Peterson even went on record threatening to unleash explosive receipts, claims that would supposedly drag not just T.I. and Tiny, but King himself deeper into legal quicksand. And while the feds never press charges, in the court of public opinion, that stain never fades. It sticks like glue. But while the Harris legal team scrambles to smother one scandal, another bombshell rumor has surfaced. Whispers about a secret deal gone sideways. King's name allegedly scrawled on a contraband ledger, a broken promise, and talk spreading that he either snitched or backed out on a payment.
So the dynamics here are interesting, but I can't judge how the parenting is gone, because everything that we've seen has been stuff that many of us would have said or similar if we saw our children do this. But I will say this, a lot of what's happening is because it's in the public. Like most children don't have to do this in the public.
Is it just prison gossip, or is there truth hiding in plain sight? Insiders swear that inside those walls, betrayal always has the same price: blood. Stack that on top of King's privileged upbringing, his reality TV past, and the Harris family's history of stirring controversy, and it's no shock he became a lightning rod for grudges behind bars. Meanwhile, T.I. and Tiny's relationship is reportedly looking like a powder keg with a short fuse. Behind closed doors, sources say the fights are getting ugly over how to handle King's downward spiral. Tiny is pushing for a softer, protective approach, insisting the system and outside influences are to blame, while T.I. is ready to go to war. But T.I.? He's said to be growing more combative by the day, insisting their son doesn't need excuses, he needs discipline. Convinced that only hard pressure and high-powered connections can pull King out alive, T.I. has gone full throttle, working every angle he can. Yet one source close to the couple claims this is the single worst crisis they've ever faced together. Worse than the reality TV cancellation, worse than those ugly LA lawsuits, and even worse than the viral Falcons game humiliation where T.I. put his own son in a headlock for the world to see. This isn't just another scandal. It's their family legacy hanging by a thread. The emotional toll is devastating, with T.I. and Tiny lashing out at each other while the rest of the Harris clan is trapped in the blast zone. And zooming out, the stakes couldn't be higher. King, once the pampered wild card of the Harris dynasty, is now staring down a cold, brutal reality.
Can you know what I'm saying, kind of woosah yourself outside of the public opinion?
With every new headline and every frantic phone call from his father, the question grows louder. Does this end in redemption? Or are we witnessing the total unmaking of one of hip-hop's most infamous families? Every clue so far points toward the same chilling possibility. The most shocking details of this ambush, and what really happens to a big name trapped in the concrete jungle, still haven't even surfaced yet. We're watching in almost slow motion as the brutal realities of prison life tear apart the carefully polished image of celebrity privilege. All the money, all the connections, even a powerful last name. None of it guarantees safety once you're behind those walls. Prison runs on a whole different code, and King Harris, just like countless others before him, is learning those rules the hard way. Rules written in blood, enforced without hesitation, and never up for debate. In there, respect can only be earned through loyalty. It can't be bought with autographs, fame, or flashy talk. Yesterday's chart position, it means nothing when survival is the only currency that counts. In prison, survival is the only headline that matters, and high-profile inmates aren't more protected. They're more exposed. That brutal truth is now hitting King Harris harder than anyone ever expected. Inside a world where survival depends on alliances, silence, and respect, the very thing that made him famous may have turned into his greatest weakness. Was King's high-profile status the real weapon used against him? That's the chilling question haunting everyone as the Harris dynasty reels from an ambush they never saw coming. Insiders close to the situation stress this wasn't just about King the person. It was about what he symbolized the second he stepped through those gates. He carried the Harris name, the reality TV baggage, the notoriety, and that infamous reputation as T.Y.'s wildest son. To men already serving decades, that was a lightning rod for jealousy, resentment, and old scores waiting to be settled.
I admire his dedication and commitment to the craft, because, I kind of told him, what was wrong about it. Making mistakes. I ain't had no daddy who would pull up and get on my ass anytime. Things I did, you can't get away with.
I know that.
Man, damn. Yeah, that's I ain't see that one coming. You know
Really?
what I mean? Nah, I didn't.
And here's the darker truth. More than one correctional officer has quietly admitted that inmates like King often turn into bargaining chips, traded and targeted in the endless power struggles between rival factions. Fame outside doesn't shield you inside. It paints a bullseye on your back. King didn't just end up in trouble. He became a pawn in somebody else's game. One former Georgia inmate broke it down. They see an outsider with headlines, and they want to send a message, not just to him, but to the other inmates and to the whole world watching. Mix in the whispers of a botched contraband deal and the constant swirl of his family's scandals, and it's clear King was swimming with sharks from the very first day. And in prison, fists aren't the only weapon. Psychological warfare can be just as deadly. Every stare, every word, every rumor can be a warning, or the first step toward another ambush. Reports suggest King's privileged upbringing painted a target on his back before he even stepped inside a cell. Some inmates resented him for what they saw as a silver spoon life. The private schools, the flashy music videos, the kind of legal firepower most could never dream of. Others were flat out insulted by his attempts to talk tough, act gangster, and stand on business, when deep down, everyone knew he'd spent more time on reality TV sets than on street corners. Lawyers are running overtime, scrambling behind the curtain to spin the story and wrestle back control of the narrative. But inside the Harris circle, the family is tearing itself apart over the next move. Some relatives are urging caution, fearing that making more noise could paint an even bigger target on King's back. Others are saying the exact opposite, that silence looks like surrender, and the Harris brand can't afford to appear weak in the middle of a public meltdown this big. Meanwhile, the rest of the Harris kids are stuck walking through a minefield, dragged into speculation about everything from messy paternity whispers to old family disputes being dragged back into the light. The line between private heartbreak and public scandal, it's disappearing by the hour, and every new leak, whether whispered by a prison guard or blasted out by a so-called family friend, only dumps more gasoline on a fire that's already raging. And as the pieces fall into place, the bigger picture can't be ignored. King's near-fatal ambush exposed one brutal truth. The justice system doesn't bend for celebrity, it crushes you. Famous or not, if you can't adapt to the brutal politics inside, no amount of family money, slick media spin, or hip-hop royalty status will save you. Behind those walls, the only currency that counts is raw power, and King is learning that lesson the hard way. What started as a so-called scuffle over respect has spiraled into a fight for survival, not just for King Harris, but for the entire Harris legacy. And while T.I. works his back channels, pulling every string he can to outsmart a system that's already claimed countless lives, the ripple effect from this prison ambush may only just be beginning. The storm hasn't peaked yet, it's only gaining force. King is still clinging to life, and with every breaking headline, it feels less like one random attack and more like the opening chapter of a much darker saga. The real question now, was King Harris just a casualty of his family's fame, or is there something far more sinister fueling all this chaos? Could this brutal prison ambush be the spark that unleashes secrets and rivalries so explosive, no amount of spin or damage control could ever contain them? I want to hear from you. What do you think is really going on here? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit like, and share this video. Because with the Harris family, the drama is never finished. Stay locked in, stay curious, and keep those eyes wide open. Because the next wild turn in this story could drop any second.